Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Good morning.
Let's get started. Uh, Welcome to the annual meeting of A&M Board of Trustees. We'll have a ecumenical invocation by Dr. Pitcher. Would you please?
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So when Dr. Williams approached me yesterday, Trustee Williams, about doing this invocation and including a song, everything dropped. I said, "Sir, I can't promise you what's going to come out at 8:30 in the morning, so I'm going to apologize in advance." But as I gave it some thought and prayer, because you requested lift every voice and sing, at least something from that, in prayer, the word that was really strong in my spirit was remember. Um, Half of what is responsible for the anointing in our lives, and I heard T.D. Jakes say this once, is gratitude. Gratitude. And remembering what God has done for us, and that it's not we ourselves that bring us to the place that we are, but His hand. And there's a scripture from Deuteronomy 7:8 that says, "But it was because the Lord loved you and kept the oath He swore to your ancestors, that He brought you out with a mighty hand and redeemed you from the land of slavery, from the power of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. Know therefore that the Lord your God is God. He is the faithful God, keeping His covenant of love to 1,000 generations of those who love Him and keep His commandments." So if you bow your heads. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for remembering us and reminding us to remember you. Thank you so much for your steadfast love that never ceases. Thank you for continuing to rescue us with your mighty outstretched hand. You are our great defender, protector, and the lover of our souls. For your love, we are truly grateful. And we pray, Father, that as we move forth in today's gathering and in the events to come, that we would continue to be mindful of your love, and that others would recognize that we belong to you by the love that we exhibit and demonstrate to each other. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, thou who hast brought us thus far on the wing, thou who hast by thy might led us into the light, keep us forever in thy path, we pray. Lest our feet stray from the places, our God, where we met thee, lest our hearts, drunk with the wine of the world, we forget thee, shadowed beneath thy hand, may we forever stand, true to our God, true to our native land. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Doctor. That
Amen.
I appreciate that. Uh, I want to remind all of us that we do have Zoom coverage. YouTube coverage on this meeting, so we are being aired publicly. Trustee Robinson, roll call, please.
Good morning. Okay, I will. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Trustee Jerome Williams,
Here.
Trustee Wayne Watts,
Present.
Trustee Robinson, I'm on Zoom. Trustee Ginger Harper
Present on Zoom.
on Zoom. Trustee Kevin Ball. Trustee John Hackett Jr. Trustee Banks Pickett.
Present.
Trustee Tiffany Johnson Cole.
Present.
Trustee Richard Cronkleton.
Present.
Trustee Nichelle Gainey. Trustee Gainey.
Trustee Gaines is not present at this time. She'll join us later.
Okay. Trustee Frank Williams.
Present on Zoom.
On Zoom, okay. And we also have is Trustee Jeanette Jones and Trustee Austin Smith in the room.
Present.
Trustee Smith will join us later too, I believe.
Okay, we have a quorum. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Robinson. You have the agenda before you. Could we get a motion to adopt the agenda, please?
Move for adoption of the agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that we adopt the agenda. Question? All in favor, aye. Opposed? The agenda is adopted. We get approval of the minutes and recommendation of the subcommittee meeting of June 18th. Those minutes have been distributed, so we get a motion to approve, please.
President, I move that we approve the minutes the subcommittee meeting held on June 18th, 2020.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that we approve the minutes and recommendation of the subcommittee meeting held in June of 21. In discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. We get a motion to approve the minutes of the board meeting of June 2021. Could I get a motion, please?
I move for the approval of the Board of Trustee meeting minutes from June 18th, 2021.
My second.
It's been moved and properly second that we approve the minutes. Question and discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The minutes are approved. Thank you. The next item on the agenda, which occurs at our annual meeting, is the election of officers. Ross, would you please assist us in this?
Can you hear me? Oh, yes, I'm sorry. I apologize. Good morning, trustees. The election of Board of Trustee officers is specified in Article 4 of our bylaws and governs the election of 3 offices. One is the President Pro Tem, 2, the Vice President Pro Tem, and thirdly is the Secretary. Members of the Board of Trustees, sitting members are eligible for election to any of these positions. We'll proceed through each of the positions, beginning with President Pro Tem, and I will open the floor, accept nominations for those positions, and then after nominations are closed, since we have trustees that are participating virtually, I believe it's most appropriate to have a roll call vote so that we can determine what the actual votes are with respect to the different positions. In that regard, then, I will open the floor for nominations for the position of President Pro Tem. There's a nomination of trustee Jerome Williams. Are there any other nominations? For the position of President Pro Tem? And are there any other nominations? Hearing none, someone move the nominations to be closed, please.
John Hankerson moved that the nomination be closed on the said matter.
Is there a second to that motion? All in favor, please say aye. All right, then, obviously, we only have one candidate, but I will nevertheless, for the record, ask that all in favor of the election of trustee Jerome Williams as President Pro Tem, please say aye. Aye. All right. Any opposed by a like sign? Okay. All right. The next position open for election is Vice President Pro Tem.
I nominate Wayne Watts.
I nominate Trustee Gainey.
All right, we currently have nominations for Vice President Pro Tem, Dr. Wayne Watts, Trustee Nichelle Gainey. Are there any other nominations for the position of Vice President Pro Tem of the board? Hearing none, is there a motion to close the nominations?
So moved.
I move that the nomination be closed on the two said names.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, what I will do then is would ask Trustee Robinson, as current Secretary of the Board, if you would do a roll call vote. And if the trustees would simply name the name of the person for whom they're voting, either Trustee Watts or Trustee Gainey, please.
Hey, Rod, question, is Gainey in the room?
No.
She is not.
Okay.
I'm not sure why not, or whether there's, is anyone aware of whether there's something for which we should delay the process? Is there no, she is not. She has not yet appeared, so.
Shall we proceed or what?
I did, I did speak to her, and she did say for us to go ahead with the meeting.
All right. Again, we have two candidates for Vice President Pro Tem. I would request that the Secretary of the Board, Trustee Robinson, do a roll call vote. And if each trustee would identify by name the candidate for whom they are voting.
Okay, I'll go ahead and start the roll call vote. Trustee Frank Williams.
Trustee Gainey.
Gainey's not there. Trustee Richard Crunkleton.
Trustee Watts.
Trustee Cole.
Trustee Watts,
Trustee Pickett.
Trustee Watts.
Trustee Hackett.
Trustee Watts.
Trustee Ball.
Trustee Watts.
Trustee Harper.
Trustee Watts.
Trustee Wayne Watts.
Watts.
Correct.
Trustee Williams.
Watts.
And I have a vote for Gainey. Majority is Watts, Ron.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Okay, so we confirm for the record that Trustee Watts is elected as the Vice President Pro Tem. The next officer position that is now open for election is that of Secretary of the Board. Are there any nominations for Secretary of the Board?
This is Trustee Watts. I nominate Trustee Cole.
Trustee Cole. Are there other nominations for the position of Secretary of the Board?
Trustee Cole.
Trustee Cole, yes, sorry. Are there any other nomination for position of Secretary? Hearing none, is there a motion to close the nominations?
Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we close the nomination. Said name.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Please say
Aye.
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 All right. Then again, please by affirmation, all in favor of Trustee Cole for Secretary, please say aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
oppo-
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Trustee Cole is elected Secretary, and it will be for those individuals to assume those positions as we go forward in this meeting. Having now been elected, I recognize that Trustee Jerome Williams has been elected as the President Pro Tem, Trustee Wayne Watts, the Vice President Pro Tem, Trustee Cole as the Secretary of the Board. Thank you.
Councilor, we need to also, I assume it's done at this time, approve the executive committee.
Yes, Mr. President Pro Tem. There are standing committees to which the chairs will be appointed by the President Pro Tem, and there are certain members by virtue of the position they hold who will also then be part of the executive committee going forward. Are you prepared to make those?
Yes, I am.
All right.
Trustee Ball and Trustee Compton for those positions.
All right. The chair has nominated for the additional positions for the executive committee, Trustee Ball and Trustee Crumpleton. Is that correct, Mr. President Pro Tem?
Yes, Council.
All right. So he has made that appointment, and it is for the board. He has that prerogative, but it's for the board to affirm those nominations. May I have a motion to do so?
Mr. President, Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept the two nominees, Trustee Ball and
Crumpleton.
the executive committee.
All right. There's a second to that motion.
Second.
All right. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
All right.
Thanks, Councilor.
Yes, sir.
Moving ahead with the agenda. Report of the President Pro Tem. As usual, I will have a relatively short report. First, let me thank members of the board for the confidence that they have shown in me and placed in me to be the leader of this board. I'm humble and appreciative of the opportunity to serve. My intention is to always do what I feel is the right thing to do. I will always make my decisions based on principles rather than personalities. I would also strive to provide the best leadership that I can based on the information that I have. And I'm always open to suggestions, ideas, thoughts, and whatnot from board members and anybody else that can contribute to the advancement of this university. You've heard me in many settings at different times indicate that I want us to think bigger, that I want us to think beyond the level that I see us most often. In my opinion, there are no such things as can't or cannot. We all have the power of imagination, and I implore us to use that. If the thought comes to you, if the idea comes to you, explore it, massage it, discuss it. It bothers me when we are compared to other mediocre situations. Mediocrity is not what Alabama A&M is. We are a superior institution in our product, in our student performance. We have the best administrators, the best faculty, the best staff, and we produce the best students. If we can keep that in mind and always aim for that higher level and not accept just our soul as what we will do to be okay. There are times I'm accused of not communicating as well as I should, and I accept that criticism. That is a truism when it comes to me. I don't often communicate my thoughts, feelings, and ideas as well as perhaps I should. But know that my mind is always working. It's always coming with new ideas. And the challenge I have sometimes is having individuals bounce those off of that won't find out how insane I am. So, it's incumbent upon us to keep striving, keep going forward, doing the best that we can. As we transition to a new president, then let's provide him with all the resources and support that we can. I've had the opportunity to work with Provost Williams, President-elect Williams, probably more than any other board member, because I chaired academic affairs for a number of years. Of the first committee assignment that I had, and later came to chair it. And he and I have had some lively debates, discussion, even disagreements. But at the end of the day, we moved the agenda forward. Sometimes our ideas were not exactly the same as to how we should approach the issue to get to the outcome. But the outcome is what we all strive for, to be the very best that we can be. Besides Trustee Robinson, I'm the longest serving person on this board, and we're here when President McGinney had those many, many challenges that were unbelievable. We had to do some hard pushbacks, some hell of a fights. Some of you will not understand or believe the vitriol and the challenges that we faced to try to turn this university around. We had a financial deficit that was ugly. And because of that, the president did not receive a pay raise for 7, 8 years and did not request it, because he put the university's physical health above that of his personal needs and his family needs. We owe him a tremendous debt of gratitude for his leadership in this area. He has done a tremendous job in turning this university around and put it on a trajectory that President Williams can take it to the next level, and I'm certain he will. And I encourage all of us to give him our full support. I want to mention another thing, and then I'll be closing. We are a teaching, learning institution. That does not mean just for students. Every individual that's at A&M is potential for that. And I say that to say how proud I am for this president, this administration, for grooming, developing, and preparing talents like Dr. Tucker to move to the next level. That's what we're about. You know, we develop, we train. If we're able to retain, we do. If not, the product that we send out, we want the word to come back to us that they are doing an outstanding job, that we have prepared them well. We have given them all the tools they need to be successful. So for that, I'm grateful. That concludes my report. President McGinney.
Thank you very much, Dr. Williams and other members of the board. I'm going to try to get through this.
Take your time. Take your time.
If you bear with me, please. I have a video, but I've got some other comments I want to make. I want to first thank God for his blessings and his favor upon me, my family, and this university. I think about the fact that my journey to Alabama A&M University actually started here in Birmingham, in Hoover, Alabama. My first interview for the presidency occurred in the Medical Plaza at the Sheraton Hotel. And here we are today, having gone full circle. And we end here in Birmingham. I've been blessed over the years to have a board that was willing to work to advance the university. And to each of you, I thank you. It's not easy to make hard decisions that put you in positions that your constituencies want you to go in the opposite direction. That takes courage. But you did it because you understood it was for the good of the university. And we see now that it did pay off, because in life, nothing that is worthwhile comes easy. So I thank you for the opportunity to serve. I've been blessed to be president for almost 17 years of two different institutions. And if you were to ask me the institution that I would put on the top, without question, it would be Alabama A&M University. You've accepted Abby and I as members of your family, and we appreciate that. When you see the growth in the institution, the growth and support, particularly from the alumni, it is heartwarming to see where we are. And I want you to know that that is certainly something that I appreciate. I think Peter Drucker said something that I think is appropriate. There can be no success without a successor. And Dr. Williams alluded to that. I've always believed in giving young people a chance, because someone took a chance on me, and we have an obligation to pay forward.
And so I made appointments of people that perhaps it didn't seem to make sense at the time, but to give them a chance. And as I sit here today, I'm pleased to say that our finance, chief finance officer has gone on to another assignment, larger university, larger responsibility. That's Clayton Gibson. Our chief information officer has gone on to another assignment at the Meharry Medical College. Dr. Tucker is headed to another institution, larger assignment, University of Texas in Tyler. But I've also had the opportunity for two presidents, not one, but two presidents to come under my tutelage. As Dr. Gary Crosby has gone to St. Elizabeth University. And Dr. Daniel Williams, who's been with me from my very beginning here at Alabama A&M University to succeed me as president of this institution. I know without a doubt that this institution is in not good hands, in great hands, because you get faith leadership. You get leadership based on the principles of God. Someone who has demonstrated a love for higher education and a love for this institution. And I'm not certainly putting myself in the position of Moses, but Moses never had the opportunity to lead the people to the promised land. And the promised land for Alabama A&M University is still there because her best days are ahead of her. And I say to my successor, just as Moses said to Joshua, be strong and be courageous and continue to lead Alabama A&M University as I know that you would. I thank you again. I've got some other things, but they just won't quite come at this point because this is a difficult day, a day I knew was coming at some point. You know, it's one thing when you're leaving that people were to kick you out the door, but it's altogether different when that's not the case. But you also know there's a time. And so I'll end with Boys to Men. We've come to the end of the road. And with that said, I'm going to ask that you play the video. What I've decided to do, I presented to the faculty and staff, and so I will share with you the same video that I shared with them in the opening faculty and staff conference as my final report to the Board of Trustees of Alabama A&M University. And please know from the bottom of my heart just how appreciative I am for the opportunity of having served. Would you please play the video? There's no volume. Oh, well. We can come back. Well,
some reason it's the.
Trustee, you might want to just go on with the other agenda items and come back to that.
Yes, we'll do that. Let's, report of committees. The Executive Committee has several action items. The first of those is the University mission statement. How should we go about that?
Dr. Spook, you ready to do that piece of it?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. I think you can get that one.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
I do apologize for the sound, but hopefully we'll be able to get that figured out. But today I'm here to present the university's mission. There are no proposed changes to the university mission. It's still in line with the current university strategic plan. I am unable to read that from this distance, but the recommendation is to keep the mission statement the same.
Thank you. Could we get a motion to accept we do need a motion to this, don't we?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
To accept the
Review.
review of the mission statement.
Motion to accept.
It's been moved and properly second in discussion. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Dr. Swoop. Dr. Jones.
Good morning,
Morning.
Morning.
Trustee Williams and members of the Board of Trustees. The ad hoc committee for the naming of a building to honor the 11th president, Dr. Andrew Fugani Jr., was asked to, they were asked to recognize his service and achievements during his tenure as the 11th president of Alabama A&M. The committee met via telephone and made the following recommendations. We identified the structure. The structure is the newest dormitory of the Residence Hall, which is located on Meridian Street. And it was designated as the building to honor the works of President Fugani. The building is shaped like an H and is located across the street from the duck pond, which was recently renovated and restructured to the amazingly serene Mirror Lake, which is now named Legacy Lake, in honor of the 9 First Ladies of Alabama A&M University. Now, this project honoring First Ladies was established by our First Lady, Abigail Miriam Hamilton Fugani, who helped to raise over $250,000 for scholarships for deserving young people at Alabama A&M. Many of these students were recruited during the famous bus tours, which was led by the Fuganis. And she traveled along with her president from Huntsville to Mobile, numerous times recruiting students for the last 12 years. So the committee recommends that the new dormitory, Residence Hall, be named the Andrew and Abigail Fugani Living and Learning Complex. And we have several structures on campus, similar buildings on university campuses around the state that are named in honor of presidents and first ladies, husband and wives teams, and so forth. For example, at Alabama A&M, we named the Henry and Nell Bradford Auditorium after two former faculty members. And we also named the Michaela McIntosh Building after two of our very devoted alumni who have been strong and consistent donors at the university. At Auburn University, the J. and Susie Goog Performing Arts Center is named in honor of the former president and first lady. And likewise, the Douglas and Beatrice Covington Center for Visual and Performing Arts at Radford University was named in honor of their former chancellor, and he was also our sixth president and first lady of Alabama A&M. And so, Trustee Williams, the committee respectfully submits this report. That includes Trustee Kevin Ball, Trustee Ginger Harper, Trustee Cherie Banks Pickett, Trustee Jeanette Jones, and Trustee Jerome Williams, President Pro Tem. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Trustee Jones. You've heard the recommendation of the naming committee. What is your pleasure? Could we get a motion to approve the report?
I move that we approve the report and the request to name the dormitory the Andrew and Abigail Houdini Junior Living and Learning Complex.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. Any discussion? Question? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Mr. President, I think you have a unanimous vote on that name.
Again, I am moved and certainly do not take this as a light affirmation of the work that has been done here at the university. I want to thank the chair, Dr. Jeanette Jones, for her thoughtfulness in coming up with the idea that it ought to be a joint name. Thank you, members of the board. She has worked, and you've heard me say this repeatedly, as a non-paid employee of the university. A lot of people thought that she was on the payroll, but that was her commitment, particularly to the young people of Alabama A&M, and to have her name as a part of this building. We've been together, we are one, and we love the idea that it's on the building as one. So thank you so very much. It's one thing to have history written, but it's also something else to have it visible in the sense of a building. This means so much to Abby and I, and we certainly do appreciate it. Thank you for the honor. You know, she's not here, but you know, you end the way you start. She's never attended a meeting of the Board of Trustees during our 12 and a half years here. So didn't feel today we should change.
As Trustee Jones stated, the building is in the form of an H. And we assume that each wing would have a name, Andrew or Abigail. Which one would be left and which one would be right?
As we will leave that up to the experts, whatever that's going to be. But we will certainly be sure that your directive is followed, that there will be an Andrew wing and an Abigail wing, and I suspect the Houdini part will be in the center. Mr. Shipp and his team will work that out, and we certainly do. We do appreciate it.
But we appreciate the opportunity to honor you in this manner. You well deserved, Mr. President.
Thank you. Are we ready with the video? Okay. All right. All right, let's see what we've got here. Whew. I still don't hear anything. I thought it was saying, nope, still not there. What do you think this is? Okay, just keep playing around with it. Perhaps we'll get it done at some point.
Okay, continue, Dr. Williams.
Okay. On the agenda, you'll note that the emeritus status this president will have upon leaving office on some boards, on some universities, that is board voted status. It was in President Hugheni's contract. So we're excited to have that honored per the contract and to extend to you all the privileges that are inherent in emeritus status.
Thank you, sir. It was still a board approved.
Okay.
The fact that
Yes,
the board
true.
had to approve the contract, and so you approved it earlier and would not need to approve it again. But it
Yes.
was board approved. And I certainly, again, do appreciate this. And I think Dr. Jones may help me with this. I believe Dr. Morrison
Yes, Dr. Morrison.
and I are probably the only two that have received that status.
Yes.
What does that?
I have to look and see, President Gibson may have. I'm not sure. John T. Gibson. So, yes.
I know
Trust-
Dr. Morrison.
Trustee Jones, President Hugheni, sort of let the collective body know what that designation means, please.
You are.
I'm not-
Okay. It simply means that we hold the president in his retirement in high esteem for his achievements, and he can have certain privileges as an office on campus, and he can maintain his email address so we know how to contact him, and other privileges that are so noted, like attending events. Special events. Certainly, we expect him to be at the Magic City Classic, and that he says he's coming anyway. So, in other events that he's invited to by the president. So there are those kinds of activities and benefits you get from being. But more than anything else, is the title is an honored position. It's one in which usually comes through the honorary committee, where we recognize people who have attained certain levels of excellence and honor is due to them. And so he certainly is worthy of that. And that title, emeritus, is not given out to everybody. And so I can, Dr. Morrison, who was also instrumental in the whole Moral Act of 1890, who helped with the language and some other additions to the agriculture. He didn't do the Moral Act, but he did a lot in that regard. And so he was one of the longest serving presidents that we've had. And likewise, Dr. Hugheni is one of our longest serving presidents, but his presidency has not been with a whole lot of detractions. And so, and he's had superior strength and support from the faculty and staff. So we are pleased that the board has given him emeritus status.
Thank you. You think we're finally ready?
Yes, you got it.
Those things happen. Can't fire you, money boy. Money bag boy. It's been again. But it started.
You gonna try to help us?
We are sharing the screen.
It's the first time it's ever done.
You gotta be under 25.
According to NR now.
Let it go.
It's not being shared with Zoom, so now it's being shared. And now I can play. All right. So it's something that's.
Whatever you were doing before, just.
I'm sharing the sound. It's something with Zoom. So I'm not gonna share it with Zoom. And we're just gonna play it for the audience.
Yeah, just wait for the audience. Yeah, don't share it with them. Go back to the beginning. Yeah. Don't share it with them. Mr. Malcolm Brasher and the members of our staff. According to N.R. and Narayana Murthy, when you run a part of the relay and pass on the baton, there's no sense of unfinished business in your mind. There's just the sense of having done your part to the best of your ability. That is it. The hope is to pass on the baton to somebody who will run faster and run a better marathon, unquote. Good morning to Provost Wims, members of the cabinet, Dr. Jeanette Jones and members of the faculty, Mr. Malcolm Brasher and the members of our staff. Welcome to all of our new faculty and staff that are joining this phenomenal team here at Alabama A&M University. We also welcome back all of our returning faculty and staff in this most unusual and unprecedented times. Today, I address you with mixed emotions. As you are aware, this is my final address to the beloved faculty and staff at AAMU in this annual fall conference. During my formal investiture here at Alabama A&M University, I spoke of running in the relay race, with the baton being Alabama A&M University and the runners being heritage and future. At that time, the Hugueny era was the embodiment of the future. Today, over 12 years later, we still have the runners of heritage and future. However, the Hugueny era now joins the heritage and history of Alabama A&M University, which began with Dr. William Hooper Council and has been built upon by 10 other presidents and 4 interim presidents. In 2009, the university was beset with a number of pressing issues that dimmed her future. The James L. Fisher Group noted a number of them, which I'm pleased to report have been addressed with the efforts of a dedicated team of individuals, including many of you who have joined or been a part of the team during this period. We have moved from probationary status with the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools, Commission on Colleges, to have successfully completed a 10-year review and 2 fifth-year interim reviews, the most recent being in 2020, where we received no request for additional information or the submission of a monitoring report. We have improved from our inability to manage our finances, which was caused by a critical problem of cash flow, to having an end-of-year cash in 2020 in the amount of $42 million compared to $2 million in 2009. We have moved from a dangerous decline in headcount enrollment of approximately 14% in the fall of 2011 to an enrollment of over 6,000 students in fall 2021, with a record freshman class of 1,690 in the fall of 2019. We have right-sized the university by reducing the number of faculty and staff from over 1,300 full and part-time employees to approximately 1,000 full and part-time faculty and staff, and consolidated our academic departments by reducing them from 28 to 18. We have eliminated under-enrolled academic programs and developed new state-of-the-art programs in areas such as animal biohealth technology, communication specialists, construction management, cultural studies, entrepreneurship, general music, kinesiology, plant biotechnology, sports management, systems material engineering, and visual art. We have moved from a miserable and efficient record in external fundraising and development to conducting the first ever capital campaign, raising over $27 million, which exceeded the initial goal by 66.2%. We have increased the alumni giving rate to 19%, which now exceeds the national average of 6.1%. And we have increased the annual fundraise from under $1 million in 2009 to a projected amount expected to exceed $10 million this fiscal year. We've addressed the backlog of deferred maintenance, having invested over $175 million, fully renovating and constructing 3 new buildings and the construction of the William Cooper Council Memorial. We have moved from imposing furloughs on all employees to help balance the budget, to converting the university from its individual costly health insurance program to PHEP, which has resulted in an average saving of 12% for all employees. We've also commissioned a salary study, funded phase 1, which resulted in all employees moving to the 25th percentile salary level based on the national peer, and this year provided an overall 6% cost of living raise to all employees while increasing the minimum salary for the entry-level positions in each rank or grade to the 50th percentile. We have moved from a leadership team lacking the background and skills necessary to further the university for the future to an experienced cabinet with an average tenure in the position of 6 years, led by attorney Angela Debro and Provost Wims, who have served more than 11 years in their respective positions. We have moved from an organizational structure that was dated and not well functionally defined to a structure that reflects the best practices in higher education, as evidenced by our structure of our academic colleges, to the College of Education, Humanities, and Behavioral Sciences, College of Engineering, Technology, and Physical Sciences, College of Business and Public Affairs, and Agricultural, Life, and Natural Sciences. One might ask, how did we accomplish all of this? The answer is twofold. During my interview for this position, I was asked, how are we going to deal with the major issues facing the university? I outlined several strategic steps, but one thing I did say, if we have just a little bit of faith, the faith the size of a mustard seed, we could move any mountain. So we did have faith, and we did move mountains here at Alabama A&M University. Secondly, you've heard me say on many occasions that addressing the critical issues was a team effort. There is no I in team. A team means together, everyone achieves more. Together, we have indeed achieved more. And I want to thank my leadership cabinet for their due diligence in executing the strategic plan for the university, assisted by a dedicated faculty and a committed staff. It took the hard work of each of you, as well as our students and alumni, to be where we are today. So now we prepare to pass on the baton of the university to the next runner. An institution that has grown from an appropriation of $1,000, 61 students, and 2 teachers in downtown Huntsville to an institution with an appropriation of $49.9 million, a budget of $211 million, over 6,000 students, approximately 300 faculty sitting on 800 acres of land, an additional 1,300 at the experimental farm station. During the Eugenic era, the institution has been guided by the strategic plan into the future. The plan has 6 strategic priorities with key accomplishments under each as follows, and I will just simply name a few of them. Strategic priority 1, enhance AAMU's distinctiveness and competitiveness. We are proud that AAMU is the largest HBCU in the state of Alabama. We enroll and we graduate the largest number of minority STEM majors in the state. AAMU is a top 10 gold-level military-friendly school, the only HBCU to have achieved this level of distinction. AAMU's forestry program is one of only 2 such programs at an HBCU in the nation to be accredited by the Society of American Foresters. AAMU has achieved the coveted accreditation by AACSB, which is given to only 5% of the business schools in the world. Strategic priority 2, strengthen structures, operations, and systems to promote and support organizational excellence and stewardship. AAMU converted from the legacy computer administrative system to the Banner administrative computer system, and in the past 5 years, invested over $6 million in the expansion of the university's computer bandwidth from 1 gigabyte to 310 gigabyte. enabling high bandwidth wireless connectivity to every academic building and residence hall. AAMU's Bulldog Transit Service has received over $10 million in grants from the U.S. Department of Transportation Federal Transit Administration, which propels AAMU to the forefront in the state of Alabama and in the nation in incorporating low or no emission vehicles into its campus transit system fleet. Strategic Priority 3, upgrade university infrastructure and facilities. AAMU has completed major renovations and upgrades to Council Hall, Ralph Lee, Carter Hall, McCaleb Hall, Frank Lewis Gymnasium, Carver Complex, Louis Cruz Stadium, Thigpen Hall, Stevens Hall, Normal Hills, McCormick, Buchanan, and Morrison, in addition to upgrading HVAC systems and emergency systems. AAMU constructed a 600-bed residence hall, a 6,000-seat event center, a multi-use welcome center, and a memorial in honor of our founder, Dr. William Council. Strategic Priority 4, secure the university's financial future. AAMU qualified for over $166 billion in funding from the U.S. Department of Education's HBCU Capital Access Program. Private funding and support were spurred on by the establishment of the signature fundraising recognition program, the Normal Legacy Society. This society, recognizing individuals and couples who have contributed $100,000, foundations and organizations $500,000, and companies $1 million, currently has 13 individuals or couples and 3 companies who have contributed over $4 million to the university. AAMU research in the area of federal grantsmanship has increased by over 105% from $21.2 million in FY 2010 to $43.5 million in FY 2020. AAMU increased its endowment from $32 million in 2009 to over $50 million in 2020. A major contributing factor has been the increased endowment by Greek letter organizations of the university, including Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, and Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, and the First Lady's Endowed Scholarship and the Normal Walkway Pavers Endowed Scholarship. Priority 5, enhance the university's image and recognition. AAMU First Lady implemented the Bulldog Pride Committee, which spearheaded several initiatives to include campus cleanup, campus beautification, enhanced customer service, promotion of character development, and wearing of AAMU paraphernalia as a show of pride in the university. Other projects included Legacy Lake, Be the Match campaign, Dancing with the President and First Lady, and the development and expansion of the Quad. AAMU was the winner of 3 Home Depot Retool Your School grants, and AAMU won SWAC championships in bowling, tennis, and football, and this year became the national HBCU football champions for the first time in the university's history. Priority 6, enhance university engagement through expanded outreach. AAMU received national honor for nonpartisan student voter engagement from the Students Learn, Students Vote Coalition. AAMU Day of Service, serving the city, as one in 2019 had over 1,300 participants, providing 8,664 hours of public service with an estimated value of $77,976. AAMU partnered with Toyota Motor Manufacturing in Huntsville to develop the mobile health clinic, which is now managed by Huntsville Hospital. During the global pandemic, the mobile health clinic made several stops throughout the state of Alabama to offer COVID-19 tests. AAMU Health Center became an approved and certified COVID-19 testing and vaccination center. AAMU's extension program has served over 103,000 people in 6 different program areas, including global food security and hunger, food systems and food safety, natural resources and environmental sustainability, human nutrition, well-being, health and obesity, family, home, and 4-H and youth development, and community development. In addition, AAMU Extension Program has been awarded over $1.25 million in competitive grants. Alabama A&M University was recognized by the United Way of Madison County as one of the leading contributors, ranking 7th of the top 10 in giving amount of $46,331. And AAMU has an economic impact of over $350 million statewide and $228 million in our region. As may be gleaned from the sampling of accomplishments for each of these strategic priorities, the university is well positioned for future growth and development. And so as I bring my tenure to a close, I do so in the same manner as in the beginning, having received the baton from the previous runners and celebrating the university's rich heritage divine. The hope, according to Murphy, is to pass on that baton to somebody who will run faster and run a better marathon. That is, that we all know and believe and have the faith that the best days of Alabama A&M University are yet to come. Thank you for your dedication and support. And remember that you too are part of the runners in the relay race of Alabama A&M University. Don't drop your individual baton. And remember, one day you will transition from being a part of the future to being a part of the heritage of this great university. A heritage built upon a brighter future that we all can embrace. Thank you again. God bless each of you, and God bless Alabama A&M University. Thank you so very much. I think that is available on YouTube for persons that desire to see that. As would be expected, this was done back in the fall of the year. And so we continue to have updates, and I just want to mention a few of them. I see Mr. Billy here today, and I'd be remiss if I did not add that to the week letter organizations that have given in excess of $100,000 now, we do have Kappa Alpha Psi that was represented during the homecoming. So I certainly want to mention that. Also, at the time when we did this, we did not have the final numbers for fundraising. Those numbers came in at $11.3 million, which is twice the highest amount. I think we were like $5-some million in the past, so we were twice that. And the other that occurred that we did not capture because it came in afterwards was the anonymous gift of $2.2 million from an alum. So you see, it's continuing to evolve, and I felt that that gave a fairly good summary and wanted to share that with you. So again, thank you so very much for all of your support. And as I said, I earnestly do believe that and know that the best days of Alabama A&M University ahead of her. Continue to work together to advance this institution, and we will continue to be the best of the best. Thank you again.
Thank you, Mr. President. Any comments from members of the board? If not, then we'll move ahead with the agenda. Trustee Ball, investment and audit and investments, please.
Yes, we do have one action item on today. The action item is the approval of the extension of the service agreement for Banks, Finley, White and Company. So I need a motion for approval of this particular agreement.
Trustee Watts, approval of the service agreement.
Second.
Go ahead.
It's been moved and properly second that we approve the service agreement with Banks, Finley, White and Company. Any discussion? Call for the question.
I just have a question, Chairman. I know that we have had bank filling white for some time. Is there a process that we should have to make sure we evaluate auditors? Because in order to keep everything transparent, maybe we should consider looking at different auditors. I don't know that process because I'm not in committee, and I just wanted to make a note of that in this meeting.
Yes. I noted, Trustee Gainey, at the next contract period, the chair of that committee would take that in consideration. Any further discussion?
I might add that during the process, we did, I particularly reached out to several accounting firms that I was personally familiar with and discussed what would be a normal criteria, normal expenditure. And that seemed to be in line with what White and Company was proposing to us. So we were comfortable in recommending a renewal of that agreement with them.
Well, no, I don't question their expertise in
No,
their field.
I meant
Yeah.
in terms of what they were charging and for the services that they were providing.
Yeah, I'm not questioning that. I'm just saying, from a standard board procedure, sometimes it's always good to have different auditors that come in and just look at a transparency process. That's all.
Yes, and
Just
you're
changing
correct.
it up, that's
No,
all.
you're correct. That's very important. We discussed that. And I think that we want to probably look at a change just for that reason, because another auditor would have a different philosophy perhaps in how they approached it, or they might catch something that White hasn't caught. So
Yeah.
yes, it's a very well-made point.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But they're doing a great job. I'm not questioning that.
Any further discussion? I'll call for the vote. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Trustee Ball and your committee of Trustee Crumpington and Trustee Harper. I'm sorry, go ahead, Trustee Ball.
Next, we'll go to business and finance, where there are 2 action items. We will handle them independently. The first actionable item would be the approval of our line of credit. We can have a motion to have that line of credit renewed.
Trustee Pickett, I move the approval of the line of credit renewal.
Second, Trustee Watts.
It's been moved and properly second that the line of credit be renewed. Any discussion? I call for the question. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Trustee Ball?
The second and last and final action item is the approving of the new faculty tier scale. If we can have a motion for approval.
This is basically for information. It really shouldn't have been listed as an action item. Once we have completed the review of the information from the consultants, then at that point in time, we will go back and determine the impact. And the only information for the board would be the fact that we will probably be making adjustments retroactive to October the 1st for some existing faculty members. Obviously, any new persons we hire will be based on the study. But if we find that there are existing faculty members that we need to bring up to equity, we will then adjust their salaries retroactive to October 1st.
Thank you. Thank you, Trustee Ball.
Thank you.
This committee is chaired by Trustee Harper. She was concerned about connectivity issues, so she requested that we have another member of the committee to present this report for her. Thank you, Trustee Harper, for your work on this committee. Academic Affairs, Trustee Pickett, Trustee Watts.
Okay. Academic Affairs, we have no action items and we have no informational items, but we do have the Faculty Senate report. Dr. Jones.
All right, thank you very much. President Pro Tem, Dr. Jerome Williams, members of the Board of Trustees, President Hagani, and Provost Wims. On behalf of the members of the faculty of Alabama A&M, I'm very pleased to make the following report. It has been my pleasure to meet regularly with President Hugani and Provost Wims to address faculty concerns, academic matters, and the general well-being of the university. There are several issues that we will discuss at a later date, including the faculty salary scales and tier review. Dr. Hugani has already mentioned that committee will be looking at that in the future, and we ask that the faculty be included in those conversations. As we come to the end of the presidency of Dr. Hugani, I want to personally thank him for his leadership over the past 12 years. I've had the opportunity to meet with him as the president of the Faculty Senate and as a member of the faculty, which covers 6 presidents and 2 interim presidents. He has been such a delightful person to work with. He has discussed with us, and we have debated with him various university issues. Yet, he has always kept his word on whatever issue, whatever conclusion we came to. We have made significant progress on many issues, such as faculty and staff salaries, which was for years and years. We had one of the lowest salary scales among our peer institutions. But under his leadership, we have made the most significant progress in addressing these salary issues. Although there's still a lot more to do, and we expect that we will make additional progress. Perhaps we worked so well with him because he was a faculty member who rose through the ranks as assistant, associate, and full professor. But perhaps it was because he too served as the president of the Faculty Senate. So he knows the concerns and issues that faculty wrestle with on a day-to-day basis. Nevertheless, he is one who did not forget from where he started or how he got to where he is today as one of the very best presidents with a legacy of excellence here at Alabama A&M. Thank you also to the Board of Trustees and the President for making the effort to keep your word regarding salary adjustments that were approved years ago. The board has approved adjustments in the past that will get faculty and staff part of the way to reaching the 75 percentile goal that we have. And we want the board and the administration to know that we appreciate what you're doing and the progress you're making. We have experienced over the years with presidents and board making commitments. And then when there's a change in the administration, everything stops. This could have happened this time when Dr. Hugani announced his retirement. The issue could have been dropped. But this president and this board decided that they would continue. And this president said that he would do what he could to honor the commitment, which was to improve salaries and invest in human capital. Human capital that we have at a university and faculty and in staff. And again, I say to you, President Hugani is an honorable man. He has done everything we've asked him to do. That's why we, the faculty and staff, have enjoyed working with him and the board. And we worked with him and support him today and in the future, and whatever we can. We look forward to working with the next president in completing the job and continuing the Hugani legacy. President-elect, the 12th president, the Faculty Senate, the representative body of the faculty, is traditionally represented in search committees for new presidents. Throughout the academy, the faculty have always had a unique voice in the process. And we are pleased that this board, under the leadership of Dr. Williams, Trustee Williams, continued that tradition of academy and included faculty in the conversation. Indeed, the Senate discussed the presidential candidates and provided input on this position via resolution, which expressed our confidence in the provost and which was adopted by the unanimous consent of the Senate. We are indeed proud of the selection of an accomplished leader, our provost, Dr. Daniel K. Wims, as the 12th president of Alabama A&M University. And finally, on behalf of the Faculty Senate, we would like to thank you again, President Hugani, for the manner in which you've led this university. We look toward our next president, Dr. Wims, who has served under your tutelage. We know he is someone who has a big foot and can follow in your footsteps. We know that Dr. Hugani has left prominent footprints of collegiality in the academy, among his peers, scholarly vision, productivity, and respectable leadership, which will be continued. Sometimes individuals look at the university from afar and they see only those things that are visible, like buildings. Our perspective is from the inside and the day-to-day operations. We applaud you, President Hugani, for your integrity and your ability to work with people, with faculty, with alumni, and in numerous accomplishments that have made our university stand out among our peers and achieve the various rankings that we have. Number one in this, like he said yesterday, number one in that, accreditations and different things. So we really applaud you for those various rankings that we have achieved among institutions in the academy. Bravo, Dr. Hugani, President Hugani, friend, colleague. Thank you.
Thank you so very much.
All right. Respectfully submitted, Jeanette Jones, University Faculty Senate President.
Thank you so much for those very encouraging words. And yes, I think we always have to remember from whence we've come. And I did enjoy most, over half of my career spent in the classroom. So I understand quite well the challenges that faculty have. I did serve as faculty senate president. But the last thing I would say is that there are two L's that go together. If you're going to lead people, you have to love people. And love means respecting individuals, respecting who they are, and respecting their opinions. They may not always be the same, but always embracing those. So as long as you love people, you can lead people. Thank you.
Mr. Pro Tem, that completes for academic affairs.
Thank you, Trustee Watts. The next committee report, Development, Marketing, Communication. I believe that's you also, Trustee Watts.
Okay.
And Trustee Williams.
We have no action items and no informational items.
One action item.
Huh?
Have one action. The memorandum.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, we do. I'm sorry. Are you gonna?
IT, yeah.
Right, but are you gonna do it from up there? Or you gonna just take the action? Okay.
We're fortunate at this university to have a highly competent individual in multiple areas, and we're so happy to have our IT person step up. And as Baton, Dr. Hugani talked about, she has that now, and we're carrying.
Thank you, Trustee Williams. President Hugani, members of the Board of Trustees, IT has one action item asking that Alabama A&M enter into a MOU with the North Alabama Railroad Museum to provide internet access to the Agribition Center as part of a larger project to expand our internet connectivity to buildings with the university. you want me to show the picture? You can show the picture. So, Alabama A&M owns the property behind from Moore's Mill Road to the campus. We own all of the property except a small portion at the North Alabama Railroad Museum. I found out we actually own the driveway that goes into the museum. And so another fun fact is that museum used to transport students to and from their homes during the breaks on campus. So I think this is a great opportunity for us to provide the main office with internet access, to provide internet to them so that we can provide internet to the Exhibition Center.
The short of it is we have to get the internet to the Agribusiness Center. We've got to go over their property.
Right.
So that's, we're just trying to get an agreement. So in exchange for letting us go over their property, we provide them
Internet access.
the internet access. So otherwise, we don't have a way to get connected to the Agribusiness Center. That's the essence of what this is, yeah.
And then
Thank
in
you.
turn, be able to use our cable and our internet.
Yes, they'll be able to do that. Yes, that's the exchange for allowing us the access going over their property.
Thank you, Dr. Nash. We'll entertain a motion at this time to take action on this item. Someone submit a motion.
Chairman, I move that we, with the legal counsel, authorize the approval of this contract.
I'll second the motion.
It's been moved and properly.
Point of order. I think that's a different issue possibly. We're talking about the MOU.
Right, the
Okay,
MOU.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to.
Yeah, the MOU.
Would you restate the motion, please, trustee? Actually, we're on the same page. We're talking about approving the MOU between,
Alabama A&M.
Alabama A&M University and
North Alabama.
Museum. North Alabama.
Railroad Museum.
Yeah.
I believe we have a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Nash.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to say something about that area back there. When I was in college at A&M, one of our courses was surveying. And that's when we found out that property was that we owned that property way back there. Then in 1962 or either 63, when we went out there to do the surveying of that. And it's amazing how long is finally everything started coming up to par that you was back there. And yes, students from other parts of the state that used to use that to get all trained right there. And that's from 1961, because I went to A&M in 1961.
Thank you, trustee Hatton.
That'll complete.
Thank you, trustee Watts. Athletics, trustee Ball, trustee Gaines.
We have no action items on today except for winning the game on tomorrow, President. That is an actionable item. Don't know if the athletic director wants to speak on that.
Trustee Ball, we don't need a motion to that, do we?
I just want to check with my athletic director. Are we good to go? Brian, yes, sir. Are we good for a win?
He said yes.
Just say yes.
Thank you, President. Thank you, Pro Tem. Thank you, Pro Tem.
Yes, sir.
AD Hicks, are you ignoring your committee chairs?
That's all that we do. Let's not jump over tomorrow. Let's go tomorrow. We're focused on tomorrow right now.
Is there a declaration or anything at this time? Is there not a declaration that we were expecting, Mr. President, concerning tomorrow?
Well, whether he says it or not, is it material?
You say there's an expectation whether it's worse than or not.
That's exactly correct. And as I indicated in, I think, my remarks last evening at Representative Gavan's event, I need a going away present.
Amen.
Okay, all right. Rest my case.
Thank you, Trustee Ball, Trustee Gaines. Student Affairs, Trustee Robinson and Trustee Cole.
We have no action items, no items for information, but we do have a report from the Student Government Association president.
While the president is coming forth with his report, I say this, and I don't do it simply because it's a nice thing to say. It is the truth, and the facts bear it out. We have the very best students that exist anywhere in this nation. For those of you who had the opportunity on yesterday to hear, and I'm going to make him uneasy when I call his name, Mr. Austin Andrew Smith on yesterday. Clearly, he was articulate. Yes. His speech had substance, and his delivery was phenomenal. That's what we expect of our students. So, Mr. Smith, you may continue, sir.
Well, thank you. Number one, I just want to just get just a point of personal privilege on my behalf, knowing that this is, first of all, this is your last board trustee meeting with me being in the room, and I look forward to being in the room with President-elect Williams in this similar fashion. I would say, come February will be his first, apparently. So I just want to get just a point of personal privilege. First of all, I want to thank you, Dr. Hugini, for really stepping up as a kind of my grandfather figure. I'm just saying. Yeah, I mean, because I still have my dad, but, you know, I did lose my granddad, both of them, while I was here in college. And you stepped up.
Take your time, my friend.
You stepped up for me as a grandfather figure in the absence of both of my granddads that I lost, one in sophomore year, one in my senior year. Sorry, I choked on my spit. And I just can't, I really can't thank you enough for being there and helping me as not only as a student leader, but also as a man. We've debated philosophy on many occasions in your office because I stop in there all the time to steal orange juice and chips. But I really do appreciate you for all the lessons that you taught me. Oh, it's red. I like that. But I'm going to stop being a crybaby. But yes, thank you, President Hugini, so much for all that you did for me and all of the many lessons that you taught me while I've been SGA president under your tenure. But to keep going with my report, so on September, as it was stated in the subcommittee meeting, on September 2nd, we held an in-person SGA installation ceremony. The keynote speaker was Attorney Mark Devereaux. On top of that, we also had the in-person royal court coronation of the 71st Miss Alabama A&M University, Ms. Nia Whitten. We filled all of our vacancies except for the National Panhellenic Council senator. I did direct the college senators to compile surveys, which were sent out to the students in each of the corresponding colleges, just to gauge student professional events and social events that they wanted for the year. With that, we did assist the university administration in the virtual welcome week, campus cleanups, civic engagement week, the talent show, game show, and of course homecoming, which we started planning back in the summer. One of my own personal things was I participated in the White House Initiative on Historically Black Colleges and Universities in their Historically Black College and University Week. It was a virtual event. I was supposed to be in Washington, D.C., but Washington, D.C. was on my computer screen. On top of that, we made several appearances to the different football games. The first football game, Gulf Coast Challenge, and homecoming. So with that, as I stated before, we did fill those vacancies that we had. With that, we filled the vacancies of the freshman senators, and those, and of course on Miss Alabama A&M side, Miss Freshman. So our two freshman senators are Miss Faith Gatson and Alexis Powell, and our Miss Freshman is Faith Dillard. If y'all ever get a chance to meet them, they are like my babies, so I love them to death. I call them Baby Faith because there are two of them. And Alexis is like a daughter. I know I'm too old. I'm too young to be saying that. But other things, we're working with Trustee Jones and Provost Williams to finally finish up the Bulldog alert system that was started with in the Jelt Strong administration by Vice President Deja Strong, and fulfilling that that promise the commitment that was made to that endeavor from their administration to our administration. So we'll hopefully have that resolution before the semester ends. If not, we'll hopefully do it before the school year ends and before my tenure ends as president. One of the things that I would love to work that I'm working on right now is a proposal for the expansion of the parking lot in the Andrew and Abigail Hougini. What's the name of it? Living and Learning Complex.
Kind of like a politician's move.
Mm-hmm. On top of that, we're also revamping our Constitution and bylaws, which we are going to complete on November 1st, 2021, which will be your last SGA Constitution you'll get to sign as president, as you have a signature in our Constitution. I'm challenging my college senators to reach out to the deans of their college. One of the promises me and my vice president made when we were campaigning for the position of president and vice president was to really be the bridge between the administration and the students. And one of the things that we saw really paramount to that venture was to start with the deans of each college. So we directed the college senators to reach out to the deans and set up town halls that we want to be on a monthly basis with that. Other than that, I had a meeting with Interim Police Chief Gillis. We discussed everything from policing philosophy to the view of DPS on the campus of Alabama A&M University. And also we talked about fall commencement. We are continuing to hold more in-person events. We're trying to really bring back, we are bringing back big engagement on campus, we're trying to have the campus back to a post-COVID era, but still within the pandemic. So we're really treading lightly when we do these in-person events. We mix virtual events in with in-person. That's not it. I got one more slide. Other initiatives that we're working on is the Black Male Initiative. Within the Black Male Initiative, we will be talking about the uplifting of the Black male, and along with that, Black male mental health. Other than that, other initiatives are the 40% vaccination initiative. I kind of went into detail where I came up with the 40% vaccination. Our sister institutions, Fort Valley State University and Fayetteville State University, have similar initiatives that they're working on right now. Fort Valley's is 20% a 20% increase in vaccination, and Fayetteville State's is a 60% increase in vaccination. So the last initiative is the voter registration initiative. That initiative, I want to entail that the majority of the freshmen that got here are probably not registered on the campus of Alabama A&M University. So my goal for that is to get the majority of those new freshmen registered, and along with that, I call them freshmores because they weren't technically here, but they're sophomores now. And get them registered to vote here on the campus, as we do have a polling location on campus. And I think that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. I think that concludes the information from Student Affairs. Trustee Robinson, do you have anything? Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Cole. Business and grounds.
We don't have any action item at the time, Mr. President.
Thank you, Trustee Hackett. Governance, Trustee Johnson Cole.
We've got several action items. The first one being the 12th president of Alabama A&M University's contract. As you know, the governance committee met yesterday, and it is the recommendation that legal counsel to the Board of Trustees be authorized to finalize and secure a contract of employment with Dr. Williams within the terms authorized by the Board of Trustees, and that the President Pro Tem also be authorized to execute that contract on behalf of the university. So I believe a motion is probably in order.
I move that we authorize legal counsel to handle the Alabama A&M University contract with the president.
Does that satisfy you all?
Yes, sir.
It's been moved and properly second that we execute a contract with Dr. Williams based on the agreement that was reached on yesterday and through our attorney statement. Any discussion? And that I sign on behalf of the board.
Correct.
Any discussion? Call for the question. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you so much. Congratulations, Dr. Williams. You have the board approval of contract terms with
Pro Tem, in his contract, does it state that he is responsible for winning every classic during his first 3 years? Does it state that?
It's in the fine print.
Oh, okay. All right, just wondering.
Our other action items center.
Go ahead, Trustee Robinson.
Go ahead, we'd already passed. Go for it. Just move forward. I'm good.
My apologies, Trustee Robinson.
Okay, our remaining items center around the organizational chart and a recommendation from the committee to revise, eliminate, and add some additional positions. I don't know, do we want to allow Provost Williams to go through those, or how do we want to take them? Provost Williams?
Unless there's a need for clarity, I don't think there's a need to go back.
Okay, if we're good, then I will, I move that based on the committee's recommendation that we approve the request to revise the following positions that include senior personnel officer to designation versus position, internal auditor to chief of staff / compliance officer, provost and vice president of academic affairs and research to provost and vice president of academic affairs, and lastly, associate vice president for research and sponsored programs to associate vice president for governmental affairs, relations, and communications.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that we approve the organizational chart and changes. Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
I also move that based on the committee's recommendation that we approve the request to eliminate the following positions Executive Director of Economic Development, Director of Government Affairs and Communications, and Executive Vice President / Chief Operating Officer.
Can I get a second, please?
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Finally, based on the recommendation of the committee, I move that we add the following positions: Special Assistant to the President for Strategic Planning and Initiatives and Vice President for Research and Economic Development.
Do I have a second? Second. It's been moved and properly second. Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
That would conclude the items from the Governance Committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Johnson Cole. I feel there's no need for an executive session unless there is a request or a call for it. Communications appeal petitions. Is there an old business that should come before this meeting today? New business?
Mr. President Pro Tem.
Yes.
Not new business, but may I make just a very brief statement? First of all, I expect we'll very quickly conclude the new president's contract. I wanted to say that I remember very vividly 12 years ago when this process was undertaken. If I'm not incorrect, and please correct me, I believe you had actually already gone to the airport.
Yes, sir.
When you were called back to accept this position, what great wisdom you have shown through this time. And I would say that your statement reminded me of something I just wanted to very quickly remind this group of. You talked about love. I was reminded of some songwriters of a great bygone era, Rodgers and Hammerstein, who wrote great Broadway musicals. In their Broadway musical, South Pacific, they wrote, "A bell is not a bell until you ring it. A song is not a song until you sing it. Love wasn't put in your heart here to stay. Love isn't love till you give it away." You could sing it with me. And I just want to say thank you for ringing the bell, singing the song, and giving your love in very tangible ways to this university.
Thanks, Councilman. Before we conclude, I will give each of our trustees a chance to express themselves. At this time, we'll start with Trustee Jones. She has given us a report, then coming on around, then we'll conclude this meeting by scheduling our next board meeting. You done?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what else I can say.
Okay.
Bravo, President.
Okay.
I just want to say thank you to you, Dr. McGinney. I don't know if you remember, but I met you, it was actually on the football field. And I told you, and I have to remind you because I said, I want your job. And so much has changed since that time because sometimes you thank God for opportunities. And I thank him for the opportunity for allowing me to be on the Board of Trustees because that has totally changed my desire to ever be a university. So I just want to say thank you for all that you taught me and just the love that you've shown. Thank you.
I'm probably I think I am the newest member to the Board of Trustees.
Frank said
But,
that's it.
yeah.
You can't say that anymore.
Well, not before long, that's right. But I want to thank Dr. Ugini. He called me at home and we had a very, very nice conversation for probably maybe 10 or 15 minutes. And I was so stunned that the president of the university was calling me that I was almost speechless. And but it was a great honor, and it's also a great honor to be on this Board of Trustees at Alabama A&M University. Thank you, Dr. Higgins.
For those that did not know Trustee Crumpton has a birthday tomorrow. He's almost be grown.
You just 16.
Yeah, I'll be 16. I'll actually be 80 Sunday. That's Halloween. And we're having a big birthday party in Huntsville Saturday. So, because it's easier than to celebrate on a Sunday because you got to go to church and do those other things. But yeah, I don't know where the time's gone. It goes fast. So don't lay down your sword. Keep going every day. Keep with it and run as hard as you can. Each day is precious, and keep the Lord in your heart.
Dr. Hugin, I would like to thank you for accepting me and my wife into the Bulldog family. It means a lot. Thank you.
Dr. Hugini, what I like to say is I challenge to say if there's anybody who is a bigger Bulldog alumnus than myself, because I eat, bleed this university. With that being said, the pride that you have helped really reinstall over the last your period of your administration has just been simply just amazing. You need to hear that publicly, and the brand now is stronger than it's ever been as a result of all the work that you've done at this university. I'm so ecstatic and proud to be associated with you, this administration, the current status of where this university is, and it's really all up to your leadership. Dr. Hugini, you set the example of the modern age era of leadership that is set by an administrator. You are the example of that. So I just want to give you your kudos. We appreciate you, and we definitely will miss you. Thank you.
From the day that I saw Dr. Hugini, when he came into the which is Mooney Lewis Gym now. He came into the gym and to be interviewed. And as he walked in, I told a friend of mine, I said, that's our next president. He said, huh? I said, yeah, that's the next president. Then when they went into executive session after they had interviewed everyone for that day, Dr. Hugini said he had a plane he had to catch. They came out of the interview. He said, where is he? He said, he's going to the airport. Go get him. That is a day that always sticks with me, and I tease him about it all the time. When they went and got him and brought him back, and it was no problem. The motion went just like that. It's amazing how the good Lord can step in and he chooses who he wants and where he wants them. And the good Lord spoke through me and through a friend of mine that he was going to be the next president. Dr. Williams, continue the legacy, please. I know you can. But all I'm asking you is to see it through. Thank you very much.
Well, Dr. Hugini, as of yesterday, I just wanted to share something. As you know, I have family members, and one that was a classmate of Dr. Morse. And in the history of my family, they would talk about what made him a great president. He allowed students to be students when they didn't have the money to pay their tuition. He lend his salary so he wouldn't lose an instructor, and then make sure that students are here. What I admire most and what I'm going to miss most is your humility. For someone who never asked for anything but the base salary that he received, and what you poured into this university is phenomenal. You can tell a person by the seeds it plant, and when its harvest happens, you're able to weep from those harvests. And what you have planted, we are now able to see your seeds now taking over as your predecessor for the president. So I just wanted to tell you, I will miss you, but I know you'll be here. But I will miss most your humility and your love for this institution and the way you have rallied the students in your pageantry and your love and in the way you and your wife has executed by leading by example. So thank you for your leadership and your tenure here. This is not the last, but this is your last time sitting in this seat and you will be missed. So thank you for everything, Dr. Ugini.
I just want to say that sitting here, two things have come to my mind. One is that actions speak louder than words. And two is let the work I've done speak for me. And I think your work truly speaks for you, but I think the actions of the people in this room, when they hear you speak about this being your last day, also speaks to how they truly feel about you, the legacy that you will leave, and not only the work that you've done, but how you've done it and how you've treated the people that you're surrounded by. So I'll just say congratulations, good luck, and I'm sure God will continue to bless you.
Trustee Robinson and Trustee Williams, if you can hear us.
Yeah, Trustee Williams, as a Dr. Ugini, as a business owner in Huntsville, and then as a person who can speak on being in Alabama, and then for someone who's been entrusted with first generational students, I just want to tell you, I said this before, you are considered a legend, and you are blessed because to much is given, much is required. You have stewarded those words that are biblically driven. Very few can pull it off, and you are one of the most legacy-driven men that I believe that exists in Huntsville, Alabama, as well as the state of Alabama. And thank you for being a steward as an African-American leader. I've said that to you before. You and your wife have definitely given us the ability to know what we need to do going forward, as young folks need inspiration from leaders that can be an example. Thank you as a business owner. Thank you as a board member, but most of all, thank you for being entrusted with what God has given you. Dr. Williams, it's the same thing. Too much is given, much is required. I believe that we have done what we needed to do in choosing a leader to transform the future. And congratulations. And thank you guys for all that you've done to this point.
Thank you, Trustee Williams. Trustee Robinson?
Thank you, Pro Tem. Can you hear me? I just want to say, Dr. Ugini, I'm not going to provide an acrostic right now for you. I've learned how to appreciate those, but in all sincerity, our families have grown very close since 2010. We have gone through the trenches. We have traveled the waters, very rough waters, and I'm pleased to say you are a $1 million man. You are my double brother, and I appreciate you. You are also my mentor that I watch you from afar, and I'm still learning. I'm not perfect, but I'm still striving to be that $1 million man as well. But I want to say congratulations, and I hope you and the First Lady and the family and the grandkids enjoy this next phase, and we will see you soon. And I promise you, we will still provide you the sweet potato pies per my mother. Thank you.
Is Trustee Harper still on? Okay. Thank you. Dr. Ugini, I want to correct one thing that you mentioned about the people that you have mentored and moved into the trustee, into the president's position. Dr. Newkirk at this also came under your tutelage, and you have done a tremendous job of mentoring. And we won't tell him. He won't know that you did not. He was the first of those, I believe. And there will be others that will follow, I'm sure. And it's been my pleasure to work with you and to learn from you and see how a master works. You know, I've come to appreciate the work of masters, no matter what that field is, whether it's a musician, whether it's a print artist, or whether it's a leader. And everyone does not possess the ability to be called a master. Remember when Jesus was referred to often as master. And that means you have achieved a level of accomplishment that few others have achieved. You have risen above the ordinary and the usual. And I'm privileged to have had the opportunity to work with you. And for that, I appreciate.
Thanks to each of you again. I certainly do appreciate this, and I will be involved. I still will expect, again, when I show up, that the door won't be slammed in my face. And I still have your numbers, so I'll still be calling, and expect that I will get an answer when I call. But this has been great. I wanted to go back to something that Trustee Hackett said, and also Attorney Statement, because it is true, by the time they made the decision, I was back at the airport. We all have weaknesses and things that we need to work on, and I tend to be a bit OCD about time. I'm first to admit to you that's just the way I am. I was told at the time when the board was going to deliberations that it would take an hour. So I waited an hour, and they were not through. I waited 2 hours, and they were not through. So the third hour, I decided, well, I'm going to catch my flight back to South Carolina. And that will be it, because obviously this is not the direction the board is going in. So I indeed went to the airport and I checked in. I went through and I was at the gate. And we talk about confirmation, but I was at the gate. I had not boarded. I got the phone call from the search firm that I'd been selected as president and they wanted me to return. The moment that the phone call was completed, an announcement came over the PA system that the flight that I was scheduled to take was overbooked and they needed one volunteer. And that one volunteer was Andrew Beginning. That was confirmation that I was supposed to be here, not on that flight. And throughout, I know that this is where God has put us to be, because I've seen him work and work and work and work. So there was confirmation that this was the place that I was to be. So again, thank you. God continue to bless this university, and we expect greater and greater and greater things.
Mr. President, if you all have been there to see him come back into that building, you know how fast he walks.
Man.
He came in that door, was up front so quickly, it was unreal. But everyone was very, very happy that he had been chosen as the president. And we've been happy ever since. I don't know what kind of seeds he brought from the Carolinas, but he got us growing.
Thank you, Trustee Hackett. As we move to the next phase of administrative leadership, we know that we'll be installing in short order the 12th president of the university. I'm a student of numerology, and I understand to a degree the power of numbers. The number 12 means perfection. It's the number of governmental order. The Bible has the number 12 187 times. Revelation has the number 12 22 times. It also means God's power of authority. It has many, many symbolic and esoteric meanings. So the mantle of the power of the number 12 rests upon also a strong named Daniel. Daniel is also a very powerful name. If you are to research it in the scriptures, whether you look at the esoteric meaning or the archaic records meaning, you'll find that it is of great significance. So there appears to be an anointing on this 12th president. And as Andrew Guinea passes the baton to Daniel K. Williams, we know that he is empowered, as was Elijah and Elijah. So with that saying, then we're delighted to have this transformation occur in a timely and orderly fashion.
Dr. Jones, we're going to have a conversation with Bishop C. Wright.
I don't have what?
We have to have a conversation with Bishop C. Wright.
Yes, we will.
Yeah, we have to see if we can get some ordination license.
We need some water sprinkled on.
Before we conclude, President-elect Wynn, would you have any comments before we conclude this meeting?
Very briefly, we would like to thank the board for the confidence that you placed in us, but also the acknowledgement of the service, the brilliance, the articulation, the commitment, the dedication, the what I like to call the authenticity of Dr. Andrew Hougini Jr. Thank him for his service to the HBCU community, to the land grant community. He has been the prexy of 2 1890 land grants, and that puts him in a very lofty space in higher ed administration. There are only a very few of those. He also has served in almost every capacity in the university, from professor to assistant to associate vice president to SAC-COC liaison to faculty senate president to executive vice president to president, and now president emeriti. Well, that comes with certain rights and privileges appertaining to. And so we will certainly exercise those rights, and I have the right to call him and challenge him on some things. But we expect some great things, because this does not happen traditionally, particularly in state institutions, because succession planning, as you talked about it, is not normalcy. This is a political process. It involves political entities and officials from the governor down, alumni up. And so it becomes quite rambunctious, and sometimes it becomes a collision sport. So it's very seldom that you are able to transition and have some say so in who your successor is. So I thank him and his family from the depth of my heart. Many of you know that I met him in 2004, worked for him for a brief time in South Carolina State. Then he, in the spirit of the itineracy, Dr. Williams, sent me somewhere else when I begged him to allow me to stay with him at South Carolina State. But he sent me to Georgia, and we did some wonderful work there. But one of the lessons that I learned is that some of his staff and faculty and administrators, he pats them on the back a lot. I'm not one of those. We have an argumentative, debative type relationship. So at my previous institution, when we were going through some challenges and I was able to get them through SAC-COC reaffirmation, I called them because we overcame some tremendous hurdles. And I said, Dr. Hougini, got it done with commendations. And all they said, well, what the hell you expect? That's what you're supposed to do. I just hung up the phone, you know. But we have been through many toils and snares. Some of you know some of the challenges we had coming here, some of the opposition, even though he was elected the 11th president. But we came through those, and I think there are many nights that he didn't sleep. And so I thank you for your service, sir. I thank you for your example. I thank you for being a Southern gentleman. I thank you for being an administrator of the first tier, for being a faculty member par excellence, because we're faculty first. And that's why we hold that designation as professor so near and dear to our heart, because that's what we are first. That's what we're trained to be. You become an administrator, but you're trained to be a professor and a faculty member. And so thank you, sir. Godspeed. And, you know, the community is going to miss you. You chairman of the SWAC, served as chairman of the SWAC President's Council. You served on the 1890 Council of Presidents. You've had a presence at SAC COC. You've had a presence at the Association of Public and Land Grant Universities. All of those entities will miss you as a senior leader. And so just thank you, sir.
Thank you, President-elect Williams. We will move to the next order of business, which is to agree to our meeting date for the next board meeting, which on our agenda is stated for February 17th, 18th.
I move that we accept.
May I suggest
Please.
something? Just, would you add to that, subject to any executive orders? We're still in the midst of a pandemic. I know you said Huntsville, Alabama, there could be very well a possibility that an executive order might come. And so it doesn't change anything, you just add to that and are subject to any executive orders, so we have to move it.
Would we also want to empower the executive committee to change the date if that we find some conflict or storm or whatever else at that period?
That's another possibility, yeah. So there'll be two provisos subject to the executive committee changing the dates because of some or executive order of the governor.
Exactly. Okay, so I'm gonna give this a shot. I move that we set the Board of Trustees Subcommittee informal meetings for February 17th and 18th, 2022 in Huntsville, subject to any executive orders
Of the governor.
of the governor.
Or
Or
subject to the executive committee if there is a need to change the date due to inclement weather conditions.
subject to any executive order from the governor and or any action.
Well, why don't we empower the executive committee to change the date?
Or, yeah, they can change the date.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a lie. I second it.
Keep rolling.
Do we have a understanding of this motion?
We'll fix it up, don't worry. It'll be right.
It'll be taken care of.
We had a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor, aye? Opposed? Motion carries. I think that's the last of our business, is it not?
Let me redeem myself. I move that we adjourn.
Second? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.